This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Stick around to the end of the video for a special offer they're making available through my channel. Gamers, welcome back. Nice to see you. How was your weekend? Hope it was fantastic. How was my weekend, you ask? Oh, just the usual. Hung out with some friends at a local eatery. Visited the indoor exercise place. Went to the park and touched that green stuff that I've heard so much about. You know, just normal human things that humans do when they go outside, because I definitely went outside this weekend and I didn't stay indoors the entire time playing Elden Ring. That's right, nerds. I got given early access to the Elden Ring technical test, which launches this week. I played so damn much of it. I cannot share any details because I am under embargo, but I do have a video on it coming out this week where I can spill all the beans. I'm not allowed to share the date for that one yet, so if you'd like to know the moment that video goes live, then hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell. There's also another huge video I've got going live this week as well. Not allowed to talk about that one either, but man, it is a stacked week, and I'm glad to be kicking it off with you fine people here today. So, let's not waste any more time. You click the like button, and I'll get straight to the news. Marvel's Avengers. Geez, you just know it's going to be good when the show opens with this bad boy. Huge week for Square's beleaguered ribcage looter, so let's take it from the top. This week, Crystal Dynamics announced the release of the long-anticipated Spider-Man DLC, bringing the iconic web-slinger to the game for the first time. On November 30th, owners of Marvel's Avengers will be able to download a free update that adds both Spidey and the With Great Power Hero event, which is like a mini campaign similar to that of Black Panther and Hawkeye. Of course, when I say owners of Marvel's Avengers, what I really mean is anyone on PlayStation who owns Marvel's Avengers, because yes, Spider-Man, the one hero who might have enough exaggerated swagger to save this game from its grim fate, is walled off from anyone who bought the game on PC or Xbox. The exclusive deal was announced many years ago on this hallowed stage, the same event at which Crystal Dynamics promised that the Avengers would not have loot boxes or pay-to-win scenarios. To their credit, they stuck to the loot box promise, so far, but the pay-to-win promise was broken a few weeks back when they added a paid XP booster to the cash shop, just a few months after nerfing XP gains because apparently we were all leveling up so fast and we were getting confused. That was bullshit, of course. They were just laying the groundwork to sell the XP back to us in their cash shop. Anyway, the fan backlash to this move was so severe that this week Crystal Dynamics announced that they were pulling the XP boosters from the cash shop. In a mealy-mouthed statement, their official Twitter account said, quote, "We apologize for not responding sooner to your concerns about the addition of paid consumables to the marketplace. We introduced them as an option for an evolving player base and did not see them as pay to win since they don't offer power directly," end quote. Honestly, one of the most shitty non-apologies I've read in a long time. Let's just move on from that. Anyway, here's the big story about Avengers this week. During their annual earnings call, Square's president Yosuke Matsuda took the rare step of acknowledging Marvel's Avengers as a disappointment, and then said something very interesting. After speaking about the difficulties of developing during the pandemic, he then said, quote, "Nonetheless, taking on the games as a service model highlighted issues we are likely to face in future game development efforts, such as the need to select game designs that mesh with the unique attributes and tastes of our studios and development teams," end quote. Now, a lot of people have interpreted this as Square's management throwing Crystal Dynamics under the bus, blaming them for the failure of the game. And I can certainly see that reading, but that's not how I read this. I read this as Square's management acknowledging that they gave Crystal Dynamics the wrong project. This is an extremely talented studio who have decades of experience in making high-quality, single-player, narrative-driven games, and I think this point is self-evident, right? Since Marvel's Avengers has a pretty solid, narrative-driven, single-player campaign and an absolutely atrocious live service endgame. Live service bullshit is not in Crystal Dynamics' DNA, and yet they were given the task of making a live service, heavily monetized Avengers game. So yeah, I see how people think this was Square doing Crystal Dynamics dirty, but I think it was more about management acknowledging their own mistake in wasting a studio as talented as this on a game they shouldn't have been making. There was lots of other big, boring corporate news this week since most of the publishers held their quarterly earnings calls. Let me just shortcut it for you, right? They all made too much money in microtransactions from games you don't like, and they all delayed the games you were looking forward to. Case in point, Activision Blizzard. This week, Blizzard announced it made $1.88 billion in its most recent quarter, a 6% increase versus last year, showcasing that the recent controversy at the publisher has had little appreciable impact on sales. What it probably has had an impact on is release cadence, as this week the company formally announced the delay of Diablo IV, confirming that it won't release until sometime in 2023 at the earliest. This news isn't terribly surprising. I mean, I don't think many people were expecting it to launch next year. It certainly could have, but from the looks of things, it was still a ways off. It's also the kind of game that people don't mind waiting for. I mean, it's not like there's a gigantic competitive player base crying out for new content and a vast ecosystem of esports professionals whose livelihood depend on Diablo IV releasing ASAP. It would really suck if Diablo IV was in that position. What's that? Activision Blizzard also announced the delay of Overwatch 2. Yikes. Yes, it is true. Overwatch 2, the long-promised sequel to 2016's Game of the Year and one of the most successful new IP launches in history, seems to be stuck in development hell, as the game which many thought would be released this year, but people were sure would be released next year, is actually going to release in 2023. Hopefully. This is pretty dire for Overwatch, as the game languishes under the crushing weight of no new heroes, no new maps, no new seasonal events, no new anything until the sequel arrives. It's even worse for professional Overwatch players whose careers remain in limbo while they wait for Overwatch 2's release. Interesting tidbit though, next year's Overwatch League will still be played on an early build of Overwatch 2. That means that for all of 2022, people will be watching esports stars play a game that they cannot yet play themselves. Really takes you back to those days of the Overwatch beta, or as we called it back then, Only Watch. This wasn't the only bad news for Blizzard this week. Newly minted Blizzard co-leader Jen O'Neill announced that she was leaving the company after just 3 months in the role, which she shared with Mike Ybarra. She says she's leaving to explore how she can do more to have games and diversity intersect. Quote, "I'm doing this not because I'm without hope for Blizzard, quite the opposite. I'm inspired by the passion of everyone here, working towards meaningful, lasting change with their whole hearts." End quote. This is a little strange. It's hard to think of a role that could have had more power to affect positive change in this space than that of Blizzard's president. Either way, Mike Ybarra now leads Blizzard all on his lonesome. As part of the earnings call season, we heard that Take-Two Interactive binned an unannounced title, taking a $53 million bath in the process. Subsequent reporting would go on to confirm that the title was from Hangar 13, the studio behind Mafia 3 and Mafia Definitive Edition, who were working on an online-enabled superhero-focused game. Though it was a new IP, which is a brave choice in this Marvel and DC-soaked superhero landscape. Anyway, apparently Take-Two and 2K Games got cold feet and didn't like the price tag required to bring the game to completion. Employees of Hangar 13 have been assured that there won't be any job losses and that they'll be moved on to other projects. While we're on the topic of Take-Two, let's talk about those GTA 6 and Red Dead Redemption remaster rumors. Okay, so I will stress that these are unconfirmed rumors and should be taken with a massive bucket of salt, but they do come from YouTuber Rockstar Mag, who has proven to be a reliable source in the past. He claims that development of GTA 6 isn't going particularly well, with the project having been rebooted after the departure of Rockstar luminary Dan Houser. Apparently the project is kind of in shambles and is proving to be Rockstar's most messy project to date. One small tidbit is that he claims the game will take place in 2 time periods, which could line up with the other rumors we've heard that the game is set in a modern day version of Vice City. You can imagine people moving back and forward between the 2 time periods to see how the iconic location changes with time. Finally, he did say that Rockstar are working on a Red Dead Redemption 1 remaster, similar in scope to the upcoming GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition, and that the next-gen version of GTA 5 might be delayed into mid-next year. Lots of juicy stuff here, but like I said, all rumors, let's not get carried away. Oh, actually, one last bit of 2K news. CEO Strauss Zelnick didn't rule out the possibility that they'll try to acquire the FIFA license, which is now all but vacant as it appears as though EA and the FIFA governing body won't be able to come to terms. Clearly, Andy didn't swing those FIFA dudes enough bribes. That's how it works with FIFA, right? Anyway, when quizzed on the matter at the recent 2K earnings call, Zelnick said that their recent acquisition of Top 11 was a great move, before saying, quote, "That's a big step for us. We haven't been in that sport before. And let's leave it at that today, end quote. It was a cryptic ending that sent tongues wagging. Could you imagine if 2K acquired the rights and began feasting on all that mighty market share that is the bedrock foundation of EA's entire existence? I would love to see the look on Andy's smug face if that happened. I suspect it won't though. I'm pretty sure EA will pony up the dough when push comes to shove. Last bit of industry news. This week, Devolver Digital floated on the London Stock Exchange. Its rough value? Nearly $1 billion. While I'm very happy to see one of my favorite publishers get the paper it deserves, I don't love this news because publicly traded companies no longer have the luxury of not being dicks. They have a legal obligation to make all of the money, lest they be sued by shareholders for leaving as little as a dime on the table, or fall victim to hostile takeovers. I'd hate to see the sterling reputation of Devolver drag through the market mud, but I guess we'll just have to see how this one shakes out in the long term. We've got a small smidgen of news this week about Fable 4, just a smidge. According to the lead engineer at developer Playground Games, Fable 4 has been in the works for 4 years now. That is a long time, given the fact that we haven't even seen the game yet. It's a good thing, by the way. Playground are an exceptionally talented developer, and to know that they've been really taking their time with this one fills me with a lot of confidence about how the final product is likely to turn out. In the immediate, such a long lead time probably indicates that we can expect a reveal soon-ish, likely no later than E3 of next year. Finally, some bad news if you are planning on getting your hands on a new GPU anytime soon. The scalpers market has made that notoriously difficult as of late, but you know what else hasn't helped? Hijackers. EVGA took to their forums to report that a truck containing 30 series graphics cards was stolen while en route from San Francisco to Southern California. No suspects have been identified, but right now I'm imagining Tony Soprano sitting in Butterbean playing Battlefield 1 on a brand new 3090. He always loved the History Channel. So what got announced or delayed this week? Well, Weird West got a release date, January 11th, coming to Xbox, PS4 and PC. I profiled this one a few weeks back in my Put This On Your Radar segment because it's an immersive sim made by one of the co-founders of Arcane, the team behind immersive sim masterpieces like Dishonored and Prey. He and his team, many of whom are former Arcane devs themselves, wanted to step away from the AAA games development scene to do smaller, more experimental projects. This is their first offering, and I'm personally very excited for this one. Hopefully a great way to kick off 2022. The only other announcement of this week was for another edition of Skyrim. I am not fucking joking. Okay, maybe I am, sort of. This week they announced a Skyrim board game. That's right, they ported Skyrim to your kitchen table, running on the latest gen hardware, paper. One of the comments from the reveal video was like, the Monopoly version is next, not knowing that there is already a Monopoly version of Skyrim. Can you believe that? Todd cannot keep getting away with this, but he totally will. That cheeky smile of his is his get out of jail free card, and it works every time. Huge number of delay announcements this week, and some of them are devastating. First up, Shovel Knight Dig was delayed out of 2021. Now, to be honest, I hadn't heard about this one, but apparently it's a new Shovel Knight game, but it's not being developed by Yacht Club Games, but rather Nitrome, who have previously worked on a boatload of web and mobile games. No new date for this one yet, just sometime in 2022. Konami's latest steaming Deuce eFootball just got a whole lot steamier, with an announcement that their 1.0 release patch is being delayed from the planned November release until spring 2022, meaning sometime between March and June of next year. The game is currently in early access, where it sits at overwhelmingly negative on Steam, with just 12% of reviews being positive, making it the lowest rated Steam game on all of Steam by a weighted metric. Along with the delayed announcement, Konami said that they were offering refunds, least they could do, I guess. But yeah, with the scale of issues on display here, it's hard to see how a few extra months in the oven can make the required difference. Upcoming Marvel Tactics game Midnight Suns got a delay into the back half of 2022. This one was meant to ship earlier in the year, but Firaxis said they need more time. Fair enough, they're a great studio, and I'm happy to wait as long as needed for this one, because I think it looks great. We need more Ghost Rider in video games, so I'm glad Firaxis are stepping up to the plate here. Okay, I promised myself I wouldn't cry for this next bit, so keep it together, Ralph. Endwalk has been delayed. I'm not the only one holding back tears here at this news. Game director Yoshi P was very emotional as he announced the 2-week delay. In a subsequent statement, he would take full responsibility for it, describing himself as, quote, selfish, since he was pushing for additional changes and improvements to the game even as the deadline loomed. Now listen here, Yoshi P, you shut your damn mouth. No one talks bad about Yoshi P, not even Yoshi P himself, okay? Your desire to deliver the best possible experience for your players as you conclude the saga that is your life's work cannot be framed as selfishness. That's just you being a good dude. At the same time, the news is a bummer for anyone who had booked time off work to make room for Endwalker, so that is disappointing, but I think the improvements that Yoshi and his team are likely to deliver will make it worthwhile. Endwalker now releases December 7th, basically the same day as Halo Infinite, and Bungie's 30-year anniversary celebration in Destiny 2. Does anybody know a dodgy pharmacist that could hook me up with some Adderall or some equivalent stimulant just to get me through that week? Hit me down in the comments below. Thank you very much. So, what came out last week? Nothing. Next section. So what... fine, we'll do Call of Duty Vanguard. Yes, another Call of Duty came out, and it's absolutely another one. OpenCritic has it at 80, which is respectable, but to be honest, I find that media outlets reviewing COD is pretty pointless. I mean, the campaign, sure, you can kind of judge that on its own merits, but the community will decide for itself over the coming weeks and months how zombies and the PvP stuff will be remembered. Unless it's really good, it kind of feels like COD Vanguard is going to fade into obscurity pretty fast. It's all but confirmed that next year is a return to Modern Warfare, which people are really pumped about, and Warzone is doing super well, and COD Mobile is going gangbusters. Vanguard's World War II inspired motif feels a little out of place right now, so it's unsurprising that this one certainly hasn't had the cut through that previous COD games have enjoyed. Anyway, it's out now. I tried to review it in advance of launch, but Activision sent me the code on the same day that Bandai Namco sent me a code for Elden Ring. Imagine being the person that boots up a Call of Duty instead of Elden Ring. Not in this house, ladies and gentlemen. Not now. Not ever. So what's coming out this week? Well, huge week, and were it not for that Endwalker delay, I dare say this would have been the last truly stacked week of the year. Rounding the corner out of early access and straight over the full release finish line is Forza Horizon 5, releasing today for PC, Xbox, and xCloud. I reviewed this one, link in the description, and while I didn't love it, I absolutely respected what it was doing, and I definitely had a good time with it. Most other people who got their hands on it did love it, which is why the game is currently sitting at 92 on OpenCritic, making it the highest rated game of the year. Not the highest rated racing game, not the highest rated Xbox game, just the highest rated game of any genre on any platform, full stop. Incredible accomplishment from Playground Games. If you want to check it out for yourself, it is of course available today through Xbox Game Pass. Jurassic World Evolution releases today for all platforms but the Switch. It's the sequel to the well-received dinosaur park management sim, allowing you to build your own Jurassic Park and then maybe, remove the fence separating the dinosaurs from the tourists, just to see what happens. It's reviewing extremely well, sitting at a whopping 86 on OpenCritic. The game has scored it 5 stars, saying, quote, overall Jurassic Park Evolution 2 delivers improvements across the board. It takes the best parts of the original game, adds new ways to play, and changes up mechanics to make them feel more realistic and interesting, making everything more engaging and immersive, end quote. Football Manager 2022 arrives on all platforms but the Switch today as well. I know nothing about this game other than it is the leading cause of divorce in the United Kingdom. The game is also reviewing spectacularly well, 88 on OpenCritic. Eurogamer loved it, saying, quote, Football Manager 2022 ramps up the emphasis on the modernness of today's game. It's the most accurate, most joyful, compulsive entry yet, end quote. Bright Memory Infinite arrives on the 11th for PC, console released later on. This is an updated and expanded edition of the original game and will be a free upgrade for existing owners of the base game. Grand Theft Auto, The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, launches on all platforms on the 11th. We still have not seen any actual gameplay for this outside of some brief trailer snippets, but that's not really going to stop most people from slapping down the $60 asking price for this one. To be fair, the trailer did look mighty impressive. This isn't some dollar store touch-up. Rockstar have clearly gone the whole hog on this one, so I'm looking forward to checking this out for myself and seeing how well the game holds up after all these years. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Skyrim's coming out this week. Another one. The Anniversary Edition is another version of Skyrim with all the same bugs. Now it runs on next-gen consoles, and they added fishing. There's fishing, okay? Just buy it again, because it has fishing. It's out on the 11th. I'm well and truly out of Skyrim port gags at this point. You win, Todd. You win. And finally, Shin Megami Tensei 5 arrives on the 12th, exclusive to the Switch. It's reviewing extremely well, sitting at 86 on OpenCritic. As positive as the reviews are, there was only one review that the SMT fandom truly cared about though, and that was the IGN review. Let me read you the summary quote, and you can tell me how you think the SMT community reacted to this one. Quote, Shin Megami Tensei 5's excellent JRPG combat and deeply rewarding customization shine bright. even when it sometimes feels like Persona without the heart. End quote. And yep, that is definitely the response I would have expected for that one. Oh boy, I do feel for IGN here. I mean, I fear no man, but reviewing a weeb franchise, that scares me. Put this on your radar. Okay, so already a bunch of you are like, chill up, what the hell? This is Deep Rock Galactic, which has been out for years and is one of the highest rated games on Steam. You reviewed this, for God's sake, it's already on our radar. Okay, yes, all of that is true, but this week I have been spammed with dozens and dozens of messages telling me to check out the game's latest free update titled Rival Incursions, and after having looked into it myself, it is so impressive that I feel like it deserves to be on your radar just in case it wasn't already. The update adds a free battle pass that awards boatloads of currencies and cosmetics, and it never expires, so if you can't complete it this season, you can finish it later. No FOMO here. Destiny. The update also adds new story, a new mission type, new enemies to fight against, new weapons to use, and a whole bunch of under-the-hood improvements. Best of all, like I said, all of this is free. For a game that never charged more than like $40 in the first place, crazy. I haven't played this game in a long ass time, but when I saw news of this update, I just went and bought some of the new cosmetics they're selling because I just want to make sure these devs get paid for their work. This was a fantastic game back when I reviewed it, so to see that it's still going from strength to strength is awesome. If you're interested in checking it out, you can grab it cheap on PC or Xbox, but you can also get it on Game Pass. But yeah, like, if you try it there and you really love it, then, you know, maybe think about buying it because these devs certainly deserve the cash. Sort of free stuff time, and it's a bit of a quiet week. Just a reminder that your monthly PS Plus, Games with Gold, and Twitch Prime games are all now live, so grab them if you haven't. Epic does their weekly refresh, and they still haven't quite got their mojo back after that Apple loss. Tim's been down bad since then. This week you can still grab City Builder Avon Colony, but on the 12th you'll be able to grab the Rogue Company Epic Pack, which gives you 2 new rogue agents and some cosmetics and some currencies, I think. Look, this is actually a pretty solid game when I played it back at launch. No idea how it's fared since then, but yeah, it was fine, so this might be a good excuse to check it out if you haven't yet. PS Now revealed its November lineup. Headline offerings include Mafia Definitive Edition, Totally Reliable Delivery Service, Celeste, and Final Fantasy IX. It's a lineup that certainly doesn't go toe-to-toe with Game Pass, but it's all you got, PlayStation fans. And you gotta dance with the one that brung you, okay? Speaking of Game Pass, this is one of those months that makes it difficult to believe that Microsoft is only charging $10 a month for this thing. We've already mentioned the highest rated game of the year, Forza Horizon 5, will be hitting there as a day one release, but so will Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the Definitive Edition. You'll still have to purchase the Trilogy Pack if you want the other two, but Game Pass subscribers get this one as a gimme. Not bad at all. It Takes Two is on there, and if you haven't heard about this one, let me just say you're going to hear a whole lot about it in my Game of the Year video. Unpacking is a game that released last week that I sadly missed. Very disappointing, because that is from an Australian developer, so I'm kind of letting down my countrymen there. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, please help me make it up to the devs by downloading their cute game about unpacking your room and carefully placing things in their proper place. Football Manager also arrives as a day one release, why not? Plus a little known gem by the name of Minecraft. This one has flown under the radar to this point. Hopefully Game Pass gives it the boost it so desperately needs. Our feel-good story for the week comes straight from the sands of Arrakis, or as you might better know it, Dune. Recently, during the promotion tour of the sci-fi blockbuster, leading man Timothée Chalamet revealed a deep, dark, shameful secret. That's right. He used to be a YouTuber. I know, I too was heartbroken to learn that Chalamet had stooped to such lows, but in his defense, he was just a hustling teen trying to make some coin. See, Timmy had a YouTube channel called Modded Controller 360, where he would paint Xbox 360 controllers and sell them for $10 a pop. The paint job, mind you, the controllers would cost you extra. Here's him doing a sales number on one of his creations.
If you really want this, obviously you can make offers below as well. I doubt it, but whatever. Subscribe if you want, anything. Shout out to Modern Warfare 2, best video game right now.
Now we know that Arrakis wasn't Paul's first desert-based conflict. It was Rust. The reveal also brought up a previously unearthed rap that Chalamet wrote about his statistics class. Let's take a listen to that one.
Statistics, yep. Statistics, yep, yep. Statistics, yep. Statistics, yep. Miss Law M, Miss Law M, Miss Law M, Miss Law M.
Now, I don't know about you, but I think this one is a low-key banger, and it's the perfect outro tune for us today. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a fantastic audience as always, so I want to thank you for stopping by. If you enjoyed yourself even a little bit, then please consider hitting the like button, as that is a huge help. Like I said, massive week of content ahead with Elden Ring and another mystery game, so if you don't want to miss those videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button, ding the notification bell, take care of yourselves, have a great week, and don't forget to check out this week's sponsor, Squarespace. 2022 is fast approaching, which means you might be thinking about a business idea or a side project or whatever, and if any of that involves a website, then look no further than Squarespace. Squarespace takes all the complexity out of building professional-looking websites. You just select a template from dozens upon dozens of choices, you customize it to meet your needs using the intuitive editing tools, and voila, you have a website that looks like you had some professional web design company built it, when really it was just you sitting at home in your PJs. Squarespace websites aren't only about looking good though. They also have all the best features and tools. They have things like a members area so you can publish exclusive content or communicate directly with your community. They have traffic overview tools so you can see how your website is performing, and they have full integration with social media platforms so you can share your content instantly. To get started, visit squarespace.com, and when you're ready to get serious, visit squarespace.com/skillup for a 10% discount on your first purchase of a website or a domain name. Thanks Squarespace for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down so I know to do better for next time. If you enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing, and if you really enjoyed yourself, maybe consider hitting that notification bell so you never miss a video. You can see my patrons here on the left. They're awesome. They're amazing. If you want to join them, check out my Patreon page. Thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.